Starve Your Demons by Tesseract of Tales. A man sits alone in a room with only his pants and determination, readying himself for what must be done. He was a young man and was built from his time in the Order, a warrior who was doing a test for his organization. Their order was one that fought against the infernal realm and the dark denizens that call it home. Furthermore, they had fought them the old-fashioned way, and this method worked for a long time, and they hit a snag. The bodies and tactics of the soldiers were top-notch, but a good number of high-ranking members had fallen for their infernal machinations to harm the order from the inside. Furthermore, their corruption was insidious and subtle. It spread like a creeping cancer that had all but destroyed them. This is where Chris came in. He was the game-picking experiment that could turn the tide. Chris sits across the room from a rather familiar individual, a demon. It is red and has the complete look of one from a realm that is far removed from our own. Its piercing eyes kept on Chris. The demon speaks in a mildly annoyed way, saying, "Do you have a death wish, human?" Chris replies coolly with, "No wishes of any kind, and that will be your undoing." At this, the demon chuckles and says, "Ha! You humans all think that you're so strong and mighty, but you all fall." Similarly, Chris retorts with, "You demons live on desire and insidious temptations. But the question is what happens when a human being has no need for such things?" The demon looks quizzical and replies with, "I've never seen one human who hasn't had any desire, and I doubt I ever will." Chris stares and remarks, "Well, I declare I have no desire, and thus my soul won't be taken by you." This makes the demon chuckle and says, "That's funny, but I haven't met my match in any battle of wills." Chris says, "Let's test out my will. I'll not eat anything, and it'll only be the two of us to talk to." He adds, "I know if your kind doesn't have a near constant supply of bloodlust or cravings for craven deeds, then you will simply starve." The demon raises his eyebrows and looks genuinely surprised how much this human knows of his kind. Chris lets loose his challenge. It'll be a war of attrition and endurance for who falls first to their hunger over a period of 5 days. The demon scoffs, "You mean humans choose not to eat and somehow this makes them stronger?" Chris nods and says, "Yes, it may seem paradoxical, but loss makes a warrior stronger, destroying a weaker one." The demon chuckles at this and states, "How odd. You humans live on conquering and consuming. It seems not in your nature to not create something from nothing." He continues, "So all I have to do is tempt you and I win the challenge?" Chris nods and says, "Yes, this is the contract I make you and you get my soul at the end of it." The demon looks surprised and then just smiles at us. "You humans have always been doomed since Mephistopheles. I'll gladly accept your challenge." Day 1. Chris sits across the room at the demon in a sight to behold. A tall, beautiful woman is dancing sensually across the room. She's wearing a harem outfit and is glancing with small glances at Chris, beckoning him to come closer. The demon has joined the dance. "Look, human, a truly wonderful sight. Should be all yours for the low, low price of your soul." Chris looks with a bland look on his face. "She is quite lovely, but she's a temptress to lead me astray. No thanks." The demon looks surprised. "Most men would be weak in the knees for this stunning beauty. How do you deny her charms?" Chris sighs and says, "It is simple. I do not know this woman, but I know that she wants to harm me." Chris continues, "She's been made to lure me and destroy my life, slowly through the evil machinations of your design." The demon laughs and says, "Too true. People are driven by lust instead of love, leading to both destruction." Furthermore, the demon continues, "How can you not fall for fortune? This makes the woman close to tears, This makes the demon close to tears and makes it powder face not be able to seduce Chris." Chris says, "I've had my heart broken. It was made stronger to find one that truly deserves it." The demon rolls his eyes and just shrugs while the woman poofs from existence. "I haven't got you this time, but it is just the first day." Day 2. Chris had his head in his hands and can feel the hunger pains getting a bit worse, but the demon is waiting with bags around him. This prompts Chris to ask the demon, "What is your plan now to use human desire against me as a weapon?" The demon chuckles and says, "Humans care about pretty things and easy life. I have bags of gold to give it all to you." Similarly, the demon continues with, "How much is a human soul is a question with so many answers. What's yours?" With a rolling of the eyes, Chris says, My soul is too priceless, and thinking that man's soul has a price is what destroys people. Demon looks at him and says, how can you not want or desire? The demon uses his malicious momentum to make another point. Every human with resources try to amass more and have the most. This king's ransom will help you get a big head start on it. Chris shakes his head. Money has no value. What I want can be bought with money. This miffs the demon quite a bit and says, like what? Glory? Pride? You know that you can't wear honor, right? With another hand, hearty shake of the head saying, I'm a warrior, and even though I can't wear honor, I still feel naked without it. The demon balks at this nonsense and is feeling more determined, but exhausted as well. Day 3. Chris can hear his hunger howling from his stomach and roaring in his head, but he must go on. The demon has a spread of food in front of him and greedily scarfing down all the food, much to Chris's chagrin. This makes the demon laugh and offer a turkey, saying, what's the matter in taking some of this delicious food? Seriously, Chris puts his head in his head and says, it does look amazing, but my promise matters more than partly morsel that you could bring to me, than any partly morsel you could bring to me. Also makes the demon laugh and says, every human physical hunger and people days trapped in this cruel world. Chris hits him with a furrow brow and says, well, to be fair, there's something I do hunger for. This perks the demon's ears and asks, whatever it is, I can guarantee a feast every day for your soul. The warrior looks at him, right at him, and says, the thing I hunger for is achievement and finding out what the limit of human resolve is. Similarly, the demon rubs his hands and says, those are so much more in this world, and you can't hunger for ideals. Well, the truth of hunger is that it doesn't matter what anything small will make do. Furthermore, the man smiles and says, for most people, a lot that you most likely know, give in to an indulgent control and make a warrior strong. Control and makes a warrior strong. The demon tries to keep his composure and then shakes his head. The demon is looking a little bit exhausted. Maybe it's spent a little too much of its energy in its own tricks. This revelation makes sure the demon has to keep going until he's got this human soul. He remarks that humans are prideful and fly creatures in this world. A lot of lying, fraudulent, hypocritical animals all. There's never been a human stronger than desires. So easy to throw away their so-called morals. They throw them away at the slightest hint of resistance. A house of cards falls slower than them. This human, Chris, will fall all the same. He just needs to find the one domino drop to cause the chain reaction of human weakness. Day 4. Chris strangely feels something that he wouldn't feel in this trial. Peace. He has no hunger in him and can feel the bliss from the emptiness inside himself. The demon looks a little worse for wear after this ordeal and says that I might have something that'll finally make you break, making your soul my own. Chris looks straightforward and stalwart. What could you possibly have that I would desire? The demon looked haggard, smiled, and says, how I make you the king of the kingdoms that you fight so hard for. This makes the human look taken aback, and the demon sees that he's honestly thinking about it. The demon seized on this opening with haste and said, you can rule all over. Your world would be law. You could do whatever you want. This makes the demon look at him and says, why is a king important in this world? Now it's the demon to look taken aback and ask, what human doesn't love adoration and power? You'd get both in spades if you were a king. The human shakes his head. The warrior moves, and the king stays. His destiny is his to hold, not subject to others. This prompts the warrior to continue. The king is subject to his people and others. The true warrior is only loyal to his duty and his mission, mine being one to take you down. Similarly, the demon looks exhausted and doesn't know how long he can go on. He feels the human senses his will fading while his one strengthens. Day 5. The demon couldn't believe his rotten luck in the ordeal that he has found himself in. He was at his wit's end with this human. It couldn't be this hard to break a moral. This was proven difficult. This was an insult to his very being. His existence is to make mortals suffer for their rampant foolishness. Furthermore, if a demon can't bend a human to their machinations, then they aren't a demon at all. The pride is making the humans succumb to their prideful nature, such as in times primordial. Humanity has a slothful nature, looking for excuses instead of solutions, and to self-aggrandize everything to appear above their place. This human, Chris, has proven most stubborn and has pushed me to my limits. I can feel my body breaking down and my magic leaving me. I've tried the usual temptations in my trials, my desire. They all fell flat in effectiveness and only started to expend more of my energy. I've never felt weaker in my life. The demon looks at Chris and asks in a haggard voice, "Human, how'd you do it?" Chris looks pressed. "What do you mean?" The demon rolls his eyes and says, "Beat me at this challenge. Any other human would have fallen long ago." This makes the human look up and say, "I had something bigger than me." This makes the demon get a little more inquisitive. "Another question. What do you mean by that?" Chris looks more calmly. He says, "A movement or message bigger than myself. Something that'll last after I'm gone." This makes the demon says, "Is this thing bigger than your soul?" That makes Chris laugh and say, you could say so, but the core of my being, I beat you through my belief." The demon looks puzzled and says, "So this whole little challenge was about me, but how your belief go against mine?" Chris nods and says, "You were just standing for my desire. Now I feel how to help my fellow soldiers stand against your kind." This makes the demon say before he explains, "Well done, human. You tricked me into destroying myself by starving my will." The demon looks to Fane and nothing for saying, "I was wrong, and now I pay for my hubris."